The views and opinions expressed on this show do not reflect that of the staff and management of WNOV and W293 CX 106.5 FM Courier Communications Milwaukee, but are the sole comments of the host and guest of this particular show.
The views and opinions expressed in this program do not reflect those of Wisconsin Voices. The views and opinions expressed by host and guests are their own, and their appearance on the show does not imply any endorsement or representation by Wisconsin Voices. Thank you for listening to Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices.
Be a voice.
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 Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org
and learn more on how to be a voice with Wisconsin Voices. We're going to be connecting with our partners, seeing what events and what things they got going on this summer, and making sure that we stay engaged and involved with our community.
I did see a couple of our partners on the parade route when I started getting disconnected from y'all. Somebody gave me a big bag of candy and I was running down the street getting chased with people and everybody's grandma kept stopping me asking for some candy. So I had one of those experiences, and then I ran into punchers or pink punchers, which is Kashima. Ran into her and her family, her beautiful family, and her grandkids. Fathers Making Progress was definitely in the building. You know, they're going to be somewhere close. And I also ran into Purpose Driven Sisters. They were underneath. They had a tent right off the corner as well. So our Souls to the Poles is right next to us.
Right in front of us.
Yeah.
And they love drop top. I like that.
What was that? A drop Mazda or something like that. Yeah, like a 1990 Mazda. But yeah, he was definitely, and you know, it was no rust on that bad boy. Like most of the cars I was up there. I do love, and during our Juneteenth, we our people show off their cars, their vehicles, and things of that nature. So thank y'all for making us look so good, and everybody was showing love. I had people reaching out outside the the city that live in other states, and that they show little flashes of other cities' Juneteenth celebrations. And Milwaukee's again was the standout. I've seen pictures from Dallas. I've seen pictures from even the other ones that say are long standing, like Galveston, and Los Angeles had Kendrick Lamar's concert. He had the big concert, the Juneteenth concert down there, and he been going destroying Drake in the lyrical form. So he topped it off with a concert and played Not Like Us 6 times. For all the older people who ain't heard Not Like Us, it might be kind of hard because it's everywhere. But if not, look up Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, and you'll enjoy that too. So Juneteenth is special all across the board. Milwaukee, we just we just got put on the map. Every year I think it's getting bigger and bigger recognition as far as the our festival and our parade. So what else do we got?
I got a question.
I was waiting for you to ask it too. It's about Tamika.
No.
What's that?
How do people feel? And if we can get some callers on this, 414-444-5250. How do people feel about throwing out candy to the spectators on the parade? Because we had mixed feelings.
Hey, I had my little.
Some people was happy, and some people was like, "Don't throw no candy at me."
I was just trying to run up and hand them to him. That was my problem. I was running up trying to hand them to him. Your arm getting snatched off.
I'll tell you what, if y'all want to throw candy, you can throw it in my direction at any time. I'll be more than happy to take on your
this out. You try to give them like 1 or 2 pieces because you're trying to get the kids and all that. They like, man, I want to grab they trying to grab a whole handful of it.
I hear somebody say that we need to get more adult candy.
Yeah.
Candy for adults next year.
Yeah.
That was
Hello,
everyone.
Speaking.
This is Tamika. I was just trying to let the team do their thing, but I got a big mouth, so I had to open up it every once in a while. But what I did at some point when I was giving out candy at the parade was I was like, now this is for the grown and sexy people, and then I give them some candy or I give them one of our T-shirts, and they seem to appreciate it. But there were some people who were, let's just be realistic. And I want to say this because, and I might get backlash from this, but these organizations, I think we spent about $300-$400 on candy. And I know, City of Glendale, I know, spent $500 on candy. I know these people are spending anywhere between $100 to $300 on candy, and they still, man, it's like it's hundreds of, and some of these people got candy that's gonna last them until Halloween. That's gonna last until Halloween. I don't know. I personally like throwing the candy out. And the thing is, it's a technique. Now, we're not trying to throw it up in the air so somebody gets hit, but literally some of these people just slide it and they're all covered. But I know what they do, and they don't want people to get hurt by the candy. And they don't want their candy, right? Or they don't want the kid on the ground, but they're wrapped. Most of this candy at least the stuff that we give out are all wrapped.
My suggestion is we should get some tiny bags like this, put a little bit in there, and toss them out at.
But that's what we tried to do last time, and it did not work because it did not work. We remember Nicole spent hours. Yeah. Our manager of operations spent hours, not last year, the year before, bagging up those pieces of candy in little bags, and we had probably 600-700. But guess what? It wasn't enough, so we had to bust those bags open. It was. You asked for a caller, and you got a caller.
Calling you on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Long time no talk.
Hold on. Before you talk, wait a minute. Now, Friday, I think it was myself, Brian, and were you? No, it was Brian and myself on Friday. Last Tuesday, it was Joe, Brian, and myself. Hold on, I ain't finished.
Look, I got to get down there to meet everybody. But
yesterday, wait a minute. Yesterday it was myself and Brian, and you ain't called one time. Now Latoya get back on, and all of a sudden you calling again.
Well, come on, now you know I love all of you.
Yeah,
you too.
You don't know, but you never say a Joe name. You only call when Latoya here. I don't know. I think Latoya, you might have a fan.
That's okay.
Well, she does, but you don't talk. But I mean, you can't be hating. You got to.
There you go. Tell her. No way.
Around everybody. But yeah. So like I said to Mrs. Rideout, wonderful day to everybody. Good morning, late morning, early afternoon.
I'll let you talk. I'm gonna go in the corner and cry a little bit. I'll let you talk though.
Well, no, don't do that. Well, I was just gonna say, your candies, well on the eve of the NBA draft tomorrow, hoping that the Beauchamp and Giannis them can get some of these young legs like Mr. Western himself, Boo Bowie, over there at Northwestern, Boo Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these other young guys, Conan.
Why you giggling, Mr. Rideout?
Oh, so did nobody give his mother the name book, so Boo. We'll be laughing while he's making 3-pointers, though.
All right, I hope we do.
But anyway, I hope he goes. He did some damage to the Badgers there, so it's interesting to see. So hopefully it'll be a good draft for all the young men that are coming out.
Yeah,
I was going to say for your candies there, like somebody had said something like the Jolly Ranchers and the Now Later, something like that there that's not going to give in to the heat so much. Or, some of these, maybe the small packs of gummy bears that are within their little contained plastics there, or maybe.
That's exactly what we gave. We gave Skittles.
Right. Yeah.
We gave all the things that were individually wrapped.
Things like
right.
that are individually wrapped. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm glad everybody had a wonderful time there.
But let me ask you, how do you feel about, like, if you was a spectator on the side and we're in the cars riding in the parade and we throw the candy at you? How you feel about that?
If it's like I said, if somebody could do some, I know it's a lot of people there and that's a lot of sandwich bags, but you want to put something like anywhere from 10 to 20 pieces like in a sandwich bag and just toss out the sandwich bag, because once stuff started hitting the ground and stuff, where people done spit and stuff and walking and everything, it's pretty nasty and dangerous then, for your health.
Okay, so we gonna start doing it per family.
Well, yeah, you can put like 10 to 15 to 20 pieces.
Y'all all together, they got 10 kids. Wait, y'all all together. Here's
If they walking around with pockets full of sandwich bags, you know where you got a whole bunch of candy. You got to get ready for the main dish, like the
one of the
sandwiches and the turkey legs and things like that. So.
Well, the one thing that we will try to do is have more. Hopefully, we'll have more volunteers to actually get the candy to the people. I was so depressed and sad because our fire truck went to fire truck heaven, and that would have helped a lot with what we were doing or trying to do, but we had to scamper a whole bunch of volunteers. Thank you, canvassers of Wisconsin Voices, for helping out. Technically it's not y'all job, but y'all stepped up and helped out a lot during that. Oh Lord.
I mean, it was so hot out there. If I was out there,
No, I'm stopping people because I could have swore just 2 weeks ago people were, it's raining, it's cold, now you got hot. Now it's like, oh, it's too hot.
well, I mean, for me,
Man, that heat that day, I'm with you, Jermaine.
No,
I was about
what
to
I'm
pass
saying
out.
is,
Like,
now,
whoa, Jesus.
y'all throwing candy was a great thing, but for me, I'd have been selfish. Like, man, throw me some ice cream
Actually,
Throw me a
Senator
bucket
Taylor or Judge Taylor,
or Blue Bunny or something.
when Judge Taylor,
For real.
when Senator Taylor was Senator Taylor, she would do freeze pops.
Yeah.
And she would get thousands of freeze pops. Trust me how I know, because half of those freeze pops are in my freezer at times. And then she would give out the freeze pop, and that was a really good thing. But we do freeze pops one year or something to take up her mantle. But
Throw some water at me. Ice water.
They would have went over really well that day.
especially with the fire truck, if we could have had the fire truck, yeah, we would have got my hair. Oh, please, that hair would have been. So let's get back to civic engagement, because we all love our community, and civic engagement means different to different people. So we talk about politics, we talk about what's going on in the community, but we also talk about things that should be changed in our community or things that we need to be aware of in our community, because it's all civic engagement at least to Wisconsin Voices and how we look at it. Because if we can fix the political realm and get people that will represent us, that's one part of it. But then we need to have the community banding together, doing what we can do.
Knowing what everybody wants.
Exactly. That's another part of it. Teaching advocacy, doing the stuff that we do, that's another part of it. And we are all trying to put this in an umbrella for Wisconsin Voices. So with that being said, anybody going to the Market Street tomorrow? The
night market?
Yeah, the night.
I'm definitely gonna be there.
Oh,
It's right down in my neighborhood, so
He's new to us.
Yeah, I had plans to go down there, but I guess now I'm working it.
Oh yes, we will be assisting people to register to vote as we walk down there. So if you are down there and you see somebody with a Wisconsin Voices either badge,
Great.
or a t-shirt, walk up to them and say, hey, can you help me register to vote? And you know what they will say? Why, certainly. Yes. That is.
It depends on where you live.
Actually, yeah. It's actually there's some information about that. That's you know what? People, we love our community, and sometimes they make laws that hinder stuff, sometimes on purpose, sometimes accidentally. Just accidentally said, oh, well, this is causing us issues. So just make sure you know where you are, if you can register online or through mail. And anybody in the Senate district cannot register online or by mail until the 3rd of July. And then you have a window from July 3rd to the 10th that you can. And then the CD can't go from the 11th through all the way to the rest of
the election
until after the
in
election on the
August.
14th. Now, the rest of the people that are not in the 4th Senate district can register to vote up until the 19th of July. It's a lot to learn and a lot to do, but that's why we're here. We're here to give you information, and that's what we try to do.
Right.
I was reading something yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before, and it was talking about the great power of the Black vote and the great power. And this was speaking of Wisconsin in itself. Like, if every registered or every person of color that is eligible to vote just actually voted, it changed the dynamic of we decide, the people in the Milwaukee County area decide who is, at least on the statewide races or even the county races. If every eligible voter voted in Milwaukee, they would decide what even happens on the county level. Right now, some of the suburbs are deciding on the county level what's happening, or the state level, because they have so many voters who register and who actually go out. So even though it might be your representative in the Milwaukee area, but it's up to like people like this Senate race. If Milwaukee does not come out to say who they want, it's going to be decided by Glendale and Shorewood, because they have such a high turnout, even on low turnout wards. Like, I'm going to vote today. I'm doing a early vote. Anybody who's going to be with me early vote today, who's in the Senate district. There are some, please look on these candidates' websites, because I think they have some events going on. I think Dora Drake has some events going on. Lakeisha Myers has events going on today and tomorrow and the next couple of days. Go out there and see them. See what they're talking about.
Look at their platform. A lot of them will have their platform right on their website.
Right. Actually do the research. They've been working well.
Yeah, because these both are two very likable, respected representatives. Well qualified representatives in the community. So you got to really decide who you want. I know who I'm picking, but you just decide.
And you're going to keep, are you in the 4th now?
Oh, yeah, I still am. I should be.
No, I don't think so, Missy. You moved. You ain't with us at Crew no more.
Where it go up? It don't go all the way up Capitol?
Stop said it depends on where you are on Capitol, but it mostly stops at 35th.
Oh, okay. No, I probably ain't there.
Well, we have to see. She don't even know who her representatives are. Wisconsin Voices staff.
No, that's because I just moved.
I know you just
gonna say
you moved more than 28 days ago, though. So,
and if someone out there has recently moved, you can go to myvote.wi.gov and you can type in your new address, and it'll show you all the information you need to know. Your ballot,
whatever. Caller. We got a caller. Hello, caller. Caller.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, good morning to you guys. Good early afternoon to you. Listen, Dora Drake I'll be totally honest with you. I've watched her, and I've watched Caitlin Haywood Jr. And to be totally honest with you, if you check their records, they did absolutely nothing. Little Caitlin done turned into a little politician, and he don't hardly know how to talk to you. He got his, arrogant bedstone. This Drake lady, she's done really nothing. At least Rep Myers will try and pick the torch up from, that the last person in that seat was carrying. And believe me, it was a bright torch that lady was carrying. Even when the flame started to dim, she would some kind of way kindle the flame and it would burn again. We're talking about the last person that was in that office. And if you don't have that kind of mentality, then really you're not really qualified to me to be in that position. Drake doesn't have that fire like that. She has the Becky. She's the Becky black girl. You know, she's not going to fight like hell and come back here and tell us, hey, this is what they finna do. This is what y'all better do. Y'all better watch this move that's coming down the line. This is what the Democrats are going to do. This is what the Republicans is offering. She's not going to do that. What she's going to do is find the best avenue to be comfortable with the people there, forgetting that we, the people, sent her butt there to fight. She'll get in line with them, and forgetting that this was not a job that she was hired to do. It was a job that she was actually voted in to do. So I think Rep. Myers would probably be best for that position. Drake is not. She's too Becky for me. The same with Hayden Haywood Jr. He's kind of, you know, baby acting when it's me and you, but he get right up there and put that doggone count there on, and he ain't gonna rule in our favor, do nothing to make some hell, bring a press conference and talk to the people. So I gotta get out of here, but I appreciate the minutes of fame.
Thank you. And I want to remind our listeners that is the views and opinions of our callers and our guests are not the views and opinions of WNOV or Wisconsin Voices. We don't endorse anyone, but that was his opinion, calling in for his opinion and what he thought. And he
sounds like he did his research. He checked out both.
We're not saying he did his research or not. It's just his opinion.
Right. It's what he's comfortable with.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's what we want to hear from. Yeah. We just want to hear from our viewers. If anybody wants to rep Dora Drake, please call in 414-444-5250. We want to hear from the community because that's how our entire community get a perspective of how each other feels about.
And the views and opinions of
our listeners.
I have my own opinions. We all have our own opinions. I was Dora Drake was my representative for 2 years, and then Glenda was moved out, and Darren Madison is now our representative. Actually, Dora won that seat against me when I ran, so she beat me. So she has to have something, a good quality. And then let's look at Rep. Myers, who beat out Fred Kessler, who had been a long-standing member of the assembly. So these people got into their seats beating tough opponents, if I do say so myself. But and now we just have to look at what their work, what they did. And each person knows, and each person knows what when they go and look at their records and the track records or whatever, that's what you have to look at. Who's been in the community? Who have you seen? The people who live in their district, because each one of them had been a representative of the 4th CD. So they were a rep under the umbrella of the 4th CD. Mm-hmm. So they have a base that knows what they did. And that is kind of where their goods will, people will be able to tell them, like, this is what I did.
They both served, so they both have a record that you can go back and look and see how they voted on certain issues and say, okay, yeah, that aligns with me or that doesn't, and kind of form your own opinion.
Catch Wisconsin Voices via Voice Radio every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. as we focus on community partnerships, voter education, and long-term collective impact for all Wisconsinites.
You're listening to Wisconsin Voices via Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org. Wisconsin Voices 3 pillars: protecting democracy, teaching advocacy, building community.
Let's talk about there's a article that was published in the Huffington Post. It was published today, about an hour ago. And the headline is Small Town, Alabama town wins lawsuit allowing residents to vote for the first time in decades. So let me give you a little, and I'm going through the article. Let me give you a little background of this. For decades, and I'm going to read kind of directly from the article. For decades, while officials appointed New Bern's mayor and common council members in lieu of holding elections, most residents weren't even aware that they were supposed to be electing for these positions. This is just one example of the country's longstanding racist practices that deny Black folks the right to vote. While whites in this town essentially handed down the positions of power to one another throughout the decades, there were never any municipal elections held for mayor or town council. Black folks weren't even told to get on the town council. So basically what they were doing is they were just appointing, the white people were appointing people to be the mayor. And then there was a duly elected mayor, and he will be reinstated now because as of, I think today or yesterday, the settlement was filed on June 21st, and it must still be approved by the U.S. District Judge Christy Dubose. I think her last name is Dubose, Dubose. But the settlement has been reached in the town's voting rights case, allowing New Bern, a prominent Black town with 133 residents, to hold its first legitimate election in more than 60 years.
Wow.
And the town's next election will be in 2025. And you say your vote don't count. There are people, even if it's 133 people in that town, are fighting, they're doing lawsuits to make sure that their vote counts. And we don't have to go through that issue. All we need to do is register and vote, and we're not exercising that right. But let's deep dive into that. Like, how in 2024 is it so blatant?
It's one of those situations where you got these small towns all across the country where you got Black people that are misinformed because they live so it's either a backwood or one of them small sundown type of towns. And it might not be a sundown per se, but it may have that same type of energy. And they just keeping, if you stay in your city limits or in your town limits, you don't really like where my granny and her family from way back in DeKalb, Mississippi. I mean, we went down there in 2018. I felt like it felt like the same place when I went down there in 1992. There's no development. My cousins that live down there, they travel, the ones that are young, my age. But if you staying in a small town like that and, you don't see any systems outside of yours and how things are operated politically, or even when it comes to community, or getting, fair services and, whether it's food or housing or whatever, you're going to think it's normal and everybody else is dealing with the same thing. And a lot of those small back road, and a lot of people from Milwaukee, we all great migration, second generation, third generation, Southern, we all pretty much Southern folks with just Northern, I guess you say with Northern,
it's Southern ties that we live in the North, but we have Southern ties.
Yeah. So we all Southern at heart, and we got a lot of family that live deep somewhere that haven't been anywhere out of Mississippi, Alabama. So if they get locked into those situations where they don't see any other systems and progressiveness, I see that's maybe one reason, but it's kind of sad. It's
like
real sad.
My mother was my mother and grandmother are from Dermont, Arkansas. and it's right by Little Rock, Arkansas. Then my mother or my dad is from Georgia. You know, so Dermot. But let's go back to this article, because this is the funny thing here. This is what I want to read directly from it, because this is so, it baffles me. So Patrick, I just said that Patrick Braxton will be reinstated. So you're like, wait, you just said that they haven't had a legitimate election in 60 years. But this is what it is. Braxton was the only candidate who filed qualifying paperwork with the county clerk in 2020. So he won the mayoral race by default. The incumbent, who is Haywood Woody Stokes III, hadn't even filed or even bothered to file the paperwork to run again. But Haywood Stokes Jr., his father, had previously been a mayor of the Black Belt town. After Braxton assumed the office, he faced a whole bunch of obstacles. He discovered the locks to the town hall had been changed, and that the town council had held a secret special election in which they simply reelected themselves. Then they reappointed Stokes of the mayor in 2021. He has been the acting mayor ever since. So what they did was they didn't do what they were supposed to do. They didn't file paperwork. They didn't do anything. So the one person who did the legitimate filing, nobody else did. So he won by default. He gets in there. He starts trying to be the mayor. The old common council decides to hold a meeting that he ain't there, because the mayor should be there to, to run these meetings. And they decided to vote themselves in, change the law.
Son of the old mayor, right?
Right, and it was like a rite of passage. Yeah.
They got to write down these names.
It's the Godfather thing. But that ain't funny though. I'm sorry that I'm laughing a little bit. I'm laughing at how arrogant they are. But like going on with what Brian was saying, it's like you living in these small towns, because my family migrated from Jackson, Mississippi. We have a state park named after my family. I ain't telling y'all.
Is that the Bloomingfield ones? Okay.
But you because I know a lot of very highly intelligent political figures that's from Mississippi. So you would be like, how did this whole town not know? But it's the little tedious of each one of these little towns and how they operate. Like you said, they went and held a special election in their own little quiet. Yeah.
How they did that?
Go ahead, because that's how it really really happens. Is a lot of these people aren't aware of their actual politics, so they don't know the exact roles, how to implement these roles, what's the responsibilities of these people.
No one is teaching. They don't. Some of these people don't have cable. They don't have internet. They have phone service, but if you don't know to ask the questions, how do you know that it's wrong?
Because you don't even
somebody
know it.
hears it, and all of a sudden it's like, that ain't right. What do you mean that ain't right?
Like, what you
can't
mean?
do it that way.
Ain't just appointed for us. We can't vote for our person.
So this is what the article continues to say, and I'm still baffled at this. There was no public notice announcement for the special election, so the majority of the residents didn't even know about it. And that's what the Legal Defense Fund says. This case, and then I'm going to quote you here. This case matters so much because on its face, it sounds so absurd that this could happen, but we see it mirrored in different parts of society all the time. And then it goes to say, This is from explaining that the dynamic that can lead to the blatant racial disenfranchisement of an entire community, even in this digital era. It's not until we challenge those conditions do we realize how much work is being done from other folks to keep it away. You
could say that last part again.
So it also says that Braxton, who was born in New Bern and describes himself as the handyman of the community, hasn't been able to access the town funds since Stokes was appointed as mayor 4 years ago. So he got appointed 4 years ago during COVID. He has used his own funds to now this is gonna get me. He has used the mayor that was duly the mayor has used his own funds to provide residents with COVID-19 supplies, as well as host food drives and other events. He used his own funds when it should have been city funds.
Still doing.
He's still trying to be the mayor, and he's doing his mayoral job, even though they have kicked him out, don't give him access to any of the resources that he needs to be the mayor.
To the people that they're not representing.
Oh my God.
Just
because it's got to be to the people they're not representing.
A small group of people working really, really hard to keep him out, and it's amazing.
And it's not even keeping him out. I don't think. I think it's keeping the power.
Right. Yeah. Right.
That community.
And then he's quoted to say, "Moving forward, my plans are trying to keep the community together and not be divided." And then after all of that, he still is trying to make sure that there's not any, divide or segregation, even though he could easily be like, now let's get them out of here. Or he could do something else.
Now that's called election fraud at its finest to me.
That is voter suppression at its finest.
That's a lot of illegal activity.
Where's the masses on that preaches this all the time?
And this has been an article. I remember seeing that. Actually, wasn't he here? Wasn't he the gentleman that spoke at
No.
Okay. Okay. So there's another one, but there is so many, there's so much happening. And we who are in Wisconsin, yes, they're trying to suppress our vote, but you can still go vote. There's a lot of people who can vote, and we do not exercise that right. I'm literally going today, right before I go home, and I'm taking some time to go and early vote, because I know I believe this is the last for City of Glendale. Friday is the last day of early voting. But I hate waiting until the last minute. And I learned my lesson. I thank people who like to vote on the election day, but I am I really want to make sure my vote counts. And one time I was like, oh, I'm out of town, but I'll be back, to vote. And I remember it was either my plane was delayed or I did not get back in time. And I actually missed one vote in I want to say the 20 years that I've been trying to vote. And I missed it. And it felt like something hurt my heart. It was like, and I wasn't even in this work. I was a regular private citizen, doing just working at a private company. And it broke my heart. It's like my grandmother, my great grandparents, all those people used to fight for this right. I know my parents, my mom's parents, they were the Hales. And I think I told y'all the story about the Hales when I went, but they owned acres and acres of land. This man and this woman had 18 kids, 20 altogether. A set of twins, I believe, passed away. 18 kids.
Mhm.
He was one of the very few, and this was back in the 30s, 40s, where he owned a whole lot of land. He survived off of his land. That's how he fed his kids. It wasn't, he wasn't getting a government assistance or anything. He worked his land and fed his family through that. And my mother told me at one point that they used to call him Mr. Hale, even though he was a black man there. And I still find that fascinating. I don't know if she's making that up because I just really can't, during the 30s, 40s, 50s, them calling a black man Mr. But go ahead.
Got to. That's another thing. My family down there in Mississippi, Papa Roy, my family, so 260 acres, and he used to sell timber and do all that. My great grandparents, and that was some of the stories. Like, Papa Roy was just like one of those guys where you had to work with the white man down there because he had to sell timber, and my granny and them, they worked off the land. So growing up, you seen like that. That's what you saying, that calling a white man. You hear those stories of your great uncles and your great grandparents, having the respect from these white men back in the 30s and the 40s. Even though I did have an uncle, my grandma's brother, that did get killed by some white men back in the 40s down there. But yeah, you still had the respect because they, the white men knew, when, just kind of like how it is now. When they need something from you, everything is respectful and everything is cool. And this is Brian's opinion. But outside of that, they'll act like they may not see you. But when you got something to give or you got a service or product that they want, it's yes, sir, yes, man, and all that stuff, even if they are racist.
And I want to say the views and opinions of Brian
That's kind of
Sanders.
crazy because we all got similar backgrounds. Because my great grandfather had 16 grandkids. 16 kids. God forgive me, 16 kids, and he built Jackson, Mississippi, the little area in Jackson, Mississippi. He was blind, and he built their first church. So, like you said, if you have something to bring to you, he was a carpenter, but he was blind. If you don't.
We can't forget Joe, because Joe might look like he is vanilla, but Joe, you have Middle Eastern background.
Please join Wisconsin Voices every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. We will be focusing on community partnerships, voter education, and long-term collective impact for all Wisconsinites.
You're listening to Wisconsin Voices Be a Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org.
The 3 pillars of Wisconsin Voices are protect democracy, build community, and teaching advocacy. Go to wisconsinvoices.org to learn more about Wisconsin Voices and our partners and to stay up to date on all community events. If you like and want to support Wisconsin Voices and the work that they do, please click on the donation tab.
That's so sad. That's so sad.
Man, it's
we
good
didn't
in
say
there.
you said it. See, you told on yourself.
You told on yourself. You told
For to be a red shepherd on how they
how they used
You
to
used
work.
you used to
Yeah.
No, this one.
But they had
Hey,
the
but they
best
had-
on that fish though.
Listen,
Yeah.
I don't know what
There was
season they
there was a fish place over on Burleigh, and it was there for a long time. It's like, I want to say it was between 6th Street and even Titonia. It was somewhere there, and I remember it was a little small spot. It was a little spot. Yeah, that's where it was.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the spot. But back to you, Civics. It's almost noon. It's almost noon, so we hungry. But just one of the things that I laugh at my mother, because she talks about her time in Jim Crow, but this woman literally should be dead for some of the things that she did, that she got away with it, maybe because she was a light-skinned Black woman. But she never changed the story. She went to do something, and there was two white girl twins, and they made her mad or they told on her or something. So she went after them, beat one of them up, threw that one in the ditch and beat the other one up. She should be dead for that. Because this man was a prominent person in the community. And they're saying, I dare y'all to tell because I'm going to tear y'all tail up again. She talks about this. She talks about when she was walking in Arkansas and she was tired and she didn't care. She drank out of the white only fountain. I'm like, Ma, you should be dead. I ain't care. I don't know what she did and I don't believe she's lying because my mother is she's a.
And right, Woodward and all that. They go in there on counters, all that.
Jermaine, you know my mother. You know
Yeah.
she ain't gonna take no mess. But I worry. Like I feel worried about what she did back then. And then I realized maybe that's the reason why I am the way I am today. Somehow I am unapologetically Tamika, and some people think I'm mean. Some people think I'm evil. Some people think I'm, God's gift to the world because they think I'm trying to save the world. And I am trying to do that. I am all of those things wrapped up in one. Sometimes I'm mean. Sometimes I'm super nice. But it's all because of who raised us. The community raised us. Our parents, everything got put into us. But at the end of the day, what is the one thing we want to do? Help the people in our community. I want to help the people in our community and help the state of Wisconsin because that's where I live.
And so let me say this real quick thing about my grandfather. My grandfather owned a lot of land and he lived next door to a white doctor. And back in the days, in the early 20s, like I told you, my grandfather had 16 kids, 8 boys, 8 girls. So he have his boys man the yard and all that. And his doctor kept putting a fence over some of his apple trees because he had apple trees. So he would put his fence beyond to take my granddad's land. And my granddad wasn't having it. So he had his boys take the fence down. The doctor gets mad, come to his house with a bunch of his friends with shotguns to tell him, if you take that fence down again, he forgot he had 8 boys. My granddad came out with that shotgun and told him, which one of y'all want to go with me?
And then the last thing I want to say is that happened. But guess what? All that land that my grandfather had, he had all those kids. They all wanted to come up north because they thought this was the promised land, but none of them took it. Eventually the state of Arkansas took all of it. They gave them residuals for the wood that they cut down, and eventually it was gone because nobody paid.
And opinions expressed on this show do not reflect that of the staff and management of WNOV and W293 CX 106.5 FM Courier Communications Milwaukee, but are the sole comments of the host and guest of this particular show.
The views and opinions expressed in this program do not reflect those of Wisconsin Voices, but are those of the host and guests of this particular show, and their appearance on the program does not imply any endorsements or representation by Wisconsin Voices. Thank you for listening to Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices.
Be a voice.
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 Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org
And learn more on how to be a voice with Wisconsin Voices.